In today's hobby showcase, we're going to take a look at an oldie but a goodie, the Stormhound Walker conversion. Spiky bits. Make sure you stay in the trenches by becoming a supporter over on Patreon and also scoring yourself some free miniature swag in the process. Subscribe to this YouTube channel. Check out our site, spikybits.com, for all the hot hobby tutorials, news, rumors on all your favorite hobby topics. And head on over to thelongwar.net. That's the home of the battle reports for exclusive content, early access videos, and more. Become a veteran of the Long War today. Alright, welcome back, Hobby Maniacs. Rob Baer here, of course. Again with a little kind of blast from the past, a little 40K flashback slash hobby showcase. I wanted to start doing a few more hobby showcases on here, kind of showing off some of the stuff I have, just kind of laying around and talk about it, get some ideas, get those hobby juices going, because sometimes, looking at those great painted hobby pictures in a White Dwarf is, or a Codex is kind of what gets us going, and, hopefully some of these features can do the same for you. Sometimes get me going, and into a different direction. This little guy right here, I call him the Stormhound Walker, and he was a little conversion I made when the Storm Talon first came out about, I want to say like 4 or 5 years ago. Now it's probably been already, and I saw this was back when GW did black boxes. You got the stuff a little early. You could see the stuff early and start making plans, I guess, for your armies. But what I did was, I saw this little flyer guy, and I was like, man, that thing looks so dope. What if I put some legs on it and had it walking around the table or something? So I did. It took me a little while to figure out exactly how to do it, and there's actually a whole tutorial on how to do it over on Spiky Bits, and I'm sure we'll probably be reposting that with this new hobby showcase video here. But suffice to say, it went over really well. People liked it. A lot of people have made their own version even, and showed it to me and been like, hey, what do you think? Or hey, did you ever think about making one of those again? And I was like, yeah, I actually planned on making a couple more, but never had any practical use for them, of course. But then the Night Titan came out, right? And it was kind of like, oh, wait a minute, I could use this thing as a Night Titan, right? But I never kind of did that either. So it might be a little too small for a Night Titan. Let's take a look. So here's a little Night Titan that my buddy Darren Brown painted up. So you can see it's similar size wise. Of course, you got the Dreamforge Games claws here cut out and put onto the back of the normal weapon mounts right there. He's got jazz hands and spirit fingers. So size wise they're comparable. This obviously needs a bigger base, of course, but I could definitely see using this as an Imperial Knight. Counts as, maybe, perhaps. I mean, it's certainly got the weaponry, as far as, it doesn't really have hand-to-hand weapons, but it's got the top carapace. You can make some sort of big gun right here. Switch that out for a single Gatler or something like that, and maybe some separate weapon systems on the side. I'm not exactly sure, but that's that's the nature of converting. Is because you get all those creative juices going and start figuring stuff out. Now, on the other end of the spectrum, here is a Knight Atropos that my buddy Lucas painted, and I did the you might remember the how to paint Sharpie tutorial with the trim. Painted the trim on this guy, and you can kind of see he's definitely a little bit bigger. You couldn't use him for like a Forge-Rolled Titan, which definitely for the plastic Titan seems like he would work just fine right there, right? So, and here's a Dreadnought, basically, to give you an idea of scale. There's Kazmarov just kind of kicking it, so about the same as a Dreadnought, I suppose, give or take. So there kind of gives you the small, medium, and large kind of trifecta of size right there as far as that goes. Now, let's take a closer look at the actual parts and kind of some of the quick overview instruction, because you can read all the stuff online about how to put it together, but actually seeing it and me kind of pointing things out might help people make their own version of this conversion. So here's a little bit of a closer look, and the back here you can kind of get all the details of what's going on with the legs themselves. So the main components of the whole conversion is actually not a lot. It's the Storm Talon fuselage, basically, some Whirlwind launchers here for the Whirlwind tank on either side of it, And then basically a defiler front arms is what I turn into the legs, with some, you know, some extra armor plates here and there, and also the feet to Dreadnoughts. So you need 2 Dreadnought feet, and there's actually this little bracket right up here as well for the incinerator weapon mount for the Dreadnought that I use as the kind of like the thigh joint, I guess, for lack of a better term. Now the key the key to this conversion was basically inverting the arms. So the top here is actually where the claws would be on the defiler, and back here is where they would plug into the actual fuselage themselves, which this piece is right here. You can kind of tell that's the fuselage piece, kind of cut and planed and then locked into the little Dreadnought feet right there with the armor plating, which I took the little spiky bits off of, and then some of the armor plates from the actual VTOL parts right there kind of decorate the front there. So here you can get a better look at all the wiring and stuff for the leg detail, right? And then a couple of little just random armor plates, you know, just to cover random stuff up. You used a little leather punch to kind of make little rivets and things like that as well. So then up here, everything's pretty much stock, except for we cut off the area right here where the like missile launcher or the last cannon itself would go. And then basically I subbed in Sentinel little last cannon. Actually, no, I think those are from the Storm Raven. I just basically magnetized them into the hole that was created, pretty much made a nice little socket for it to interface into there. And then where the VTOL engines go is where we put the missile launchers to kind of give it that Mad Cat kind of Battletech look, I guess, with the launchers there. Now, I still got little jets and stuff because I figured, you know, most mechs have some sort of jets to just kind of help them jump over stuff and things. So I just left them. I figured it looks good. I was okay with it. I think it flows. And then of course I left the canopy off in case I ever wanted to go back and paint it there. So that just glues on there. It's pretty simple. And then the last part, you just kind of have to cut down this back area here. And then I took another Storm Raven thruster, and you can see there's actually some lead shot in there to give it a little bit of stability balance wise, so it doesn't just like flop off. Now you can still pull this thing off here. I just basically, oh no, core crashing. I just basically used a little bit of tubing to lock everything together, which you can see right here. There's the tubing, and then there's another piece of tubing right there, which goes onto that weapon mount that I was talking about. So this little piece of telescoping tubing goes right in here into the mount where you would normally mount the little flying stand, right? So you got all that there. And here were some other places I drilled out when I was kind of trying to figure out what exactly I was going to do with it all. But eventually it all just kind of came together, and the telescoping tubing set really helped out a lot, I feel like, with the conversion itself. And then I made a little kind of like a skid plate up there to try to balance it a little bit more, give it that little bit of stability it needed. Now, I didn't really glue this stuff down. You could glue it down and give it that extra little bit of support, but I kind of wanted to be able to transport it, and you know, in case somebody bumped it or something, you know, you could still kind of mess around and still pop it off there. So that's the basic conversion. Just a little bit of putty work, sawing, gluing, just basic conversion stuff, just to really crank this bad boy out. And I think the cost on it these days, I mean, Storm Talon's $55. So the defiler legs, I'm not sure if you can even buy them separately anymore. I would say maybe $30 on eBay. The Storm or the rocket pods up there from the Whirlwind, probably gonna run you about $15, maybe $20 depending. So now you're like, various other bits, like maybe $5-10 depending if you can find them or trade with your friends. So now you're like roughly $95. I would say $110 to $120 just in parts. At full retail, of course. Sometimes you can trade with people and do all sorts of things there and get stuff on the cheap. But that's not counting these Storm Talon engines in the back and the last cannons as well. So that might put it a little bit more towards the like 140, 150 mark for one of these things. And then of course the time to construct it. But it's a really rewarding project. It was super fun to work on. And hopefully from this video here and the actual tutorial itself, you could make your very own if you really like it. And drop any questions in the comments here that you might have about it, or if you've seen some cooler looking ones or anything similar, or have some better ideas on how to make one, please share it with everybody on here on the channel and the article as well. So that's it for my little hobby showcase, kind of blast from the past. Thanks for watching.
Deleted scenes, bonus content, and all the interviews and post-game wrap-up videos can be located in the Hall of Veterans on thelongwar.net. Visit thelongwar.net today and try a week completely free with no strings attached. That's not all. Thelongwar.net is also your hobby resource for exclusive early access with an ad-free experience to all your favorite videos. Members of the Hall of Veterans gain early exclusive access to multiple hobby videos.